LG updates the LG G Watch with a new design that is pretty much as much of a watch as we're going to get. Hey, it's Josh Vigar from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And this is a look at the LG G Watch R. Now, obviously, the first thing you'll notice is that POLED screen on the front that will allow it to have turned off pixels for better power consumption. At least that's what LG has been telling us. But then you'll also notice that chronograph all the way around the actual unit itself. Now, it's an interesting design choice that does get used quite a bit when it comes to the watch faces that LG builds into these actual devices. And you will probably have the analog look all throughout. Coming around the back, we do have the charging pins, but also a heart rate monitor that will be used for various fitness tracking abilities that we weren't able to look at in this retail version of Android Wear. You're looking at how thick this body is. It is pretty thick. There are quite a few things happening underneath, but it's also for weatherproofing. And as far as the band goes, we do get a leather band that can be replaced because the G Watch R uses the standard 22mm size in order for you to change it with whatever watch bands you may already have. Here you're getting a look at the charging dock. Now, it's a lot like the original one from the LG G Watch, where the charging pins will just line up and then you charge the dock via micro USB. So it's a pretty easy way of charging this actual device. As far as the look of the actual watch goes, the leather band is quite nice, and you can change the look of it by changing the band and the watch faces in congruence in order to really get a different look. But we will say that the actual design of the unit itself is pretty fashionable, but it might not be as accessible for a lot of people out there. After all, it does have a very sporty and real high fashion sense to it that not everybody might really gravitate to. But here's a comparison between it and the original G Watch. Now, the G Watch obviously was more of a reference point in terms of Android Wear, and thus had a much more simplistic design. Now they've really stepped it up, LG has, in the G Watch R by really making it look as much like a watch as possible, especially with that chronograph around, even a button on the side that's not necessarily used for too many functions. You can use it to hit the power button, and actually you can turn it up and down and it will scroll through all of the elements, but that's something we could not test in this retail version of Android Wear once again. The size of the actual unit is a little bit more than that of the G Watch. They both are still a little bit taller for plenty of people out there, so it might not always be the easiest thing to have on your wrist, but nonetheless, we have these two watches from LG that bring Android Wear to the masses. You do have the reference point LG G Watch, but we do like what we see from the G Watch R, so keep it tuned to Android Authority for our future review of the LG G Watch R, this round version of the G Watch. And remember to keep it tuned to Android Authority, as we are your source for all things IFA 2014 here at the LG launch event.